He was a banker down in Georgia, poured side every day, but the city of life got heavy, and the music led the way. Packed up his old guitar.
All right, welcome to AC Cactus Tack. I thought it'd be fun to take you to Kalashbash, Texas 2025. You can see it's a little bit of everything at Kalashbash. It's a celebration of the Kalash or the Kalashnikov platform. This year's theme was Cowboys and Indians, so you got to see a lot of people LARPing. If LARPing is your game, everyone LARPed in whatever they wanted to LARP as, man. So you saw a lot of different characters there. It was a great fun. But, it was in Texas, and you had a couple of different competitive events. One was a subgun, and the other was a carbine. And again, the LARPing continued even out on the field of fire. So there's me with the Deltec Bear. You got to meet a lot of vendors all around the Kalashnikov, and that's my rifle that I shot during the carbine competition. It's a Meridian Defense Pestilence. So here's stage one. Just to give you the setup here, you had to reach into a blue bucket and draw out a block, and the color of that block would determine the color of target that you had to shoot. The block had to go back in the box, the shooting box. If you didn't and you put it on the black table, it was a 30-second penalty. And you can see here, I almost forgot to do that. I caught myself right at the last minute. And during my walkthrough, I was going to run outside of the field of fire and go around this corner here and then come back in. And I completely forgot to do that. Total brain fart. But I'm just working the angles here. They really made you go into each part of the field of fire here to get the targets. Although white was a little bit easier. Once you knocked off this last target right here, you could just run. If you had red, you had to go back in that little hallway area there to get the red target. So again, white was a cowboy star and red was an Indian headdress. Then there were some targets, steel targets here, about 100 yards, and got those off, sort of missed the first shot on each one. I was really glad that this stage was over. I was the first shooter to start the competition. I always hate that, but with my last name, if they don't scramble the names ahead of time, I'm usually one of the first ones to go, and it's just getting those initial jitters out. So that's stage one. Okay, the second stage was really set up to represent a mock stagecoach. So here's the back of the stagecoach. You had some ports that you needed to shoot through, and then after clearing targets, there were 3 steel targets you needed to hit downrange. You needed to hit all 3 of those from inside the stagecoach. Then you had to move outside of the stagecoach and come sit on that bench. You can sort of see it right there, right in the front, and hit those 3 steel targets again. I decided the best time for me to do a mag change would be as I shifted from the left to the right on those final ports up front, and I would be ready to go and take out the rest of the steel. I was a little worried with my knees here getting down. I didn't want to have to get on the ground. It'd be costing me time getting up, so I was able to bend down no problem, and took out these paper targets on the right here. And then work in the paper on the left side. And then there was a steel on this side, just on the other side of those white barrels. Decided to take that out. Sort of had to lean out and over. And then work in the paper here. And then doing the planned mag change to go for the remaining steel that I had to hit while I was still on the inside of the stage. And now I'm moving towards the out and sitting on the bench and wrapping up the rest of the steel here. So I shot this stage clean, super stoked. Wish I could have gone a little bit faster, but pretty happy with the outcome.
Thank you.
Of course. Muzzle up.
Okay, on this next stage, you had to take out the ladies of the evening, which were these targets dressed in, I don't know, some type of crop top and wigs. You had to take those out. You had to shoot, I think there were 2 steel targets down at the end, way down at the end there, maybe about 70 yards. And then you had to drop the mag and take out a shotgun clay between those 2 barrels. And of course, you're standing on this platform, which is wobbly as all get up. I don't really like these types of obstacles. I don't tend to do well on them. But here I'm just getting ready to go. And now we're in live action. So these are pretty easy. Took these out. They're just super close. Decided to change my mind here. I'm going for the steel. The moving platform was definitely wreaking a little bit of havoc with me. I'm working that second steel target, and I just can't hit it for the life of me. And what I've learned is instead of just pumping, just sort of come back to it. So I said, let me go get these 3 targets. Now I go back to that paper or that steel target down there. And I was able to get it, drop my mag. And again, if I missed this, it was a 30-second time penalty. But I was able to get it right through it. Now, getting off this thing at my age with my knees is pretty daunting for an old guy, but I was able to do it. And now we're running here, and you do have to be careful of your 180. It's following you the entire way. So I was pretty cognizant of that, and probably lost some concentration because right at the left here, on the left side of these white barrels, there's actually a steel target, and I saw it during the walkthrough, but completely spaced it during the run here. And I could always tell because the range officer will say something in a weird tone, if you're ready, or if you're done. And of course, that was it for me. Missed it completely. Okay, this next stage, I just was checking the rule clarification. There's about a target 130 yards down there of Sasquatch. You have to declare if you're going to go for Sasquatch or not. If you're not going to go for it, then you've got to hit every single target. And I just wanted a clarification that if I declared for Sasquatch and I missed, would I have to hit all the targets here? And basically the answer was no, but I would suffer a pretty steep time penalty. So no one wanted to tape a bunch of targets, so I decided to go for it. It just looked really long to me, and the target looked super small. But, I was able to do a pretty decent job at knocking it out in a fairly short amount of time here. So loading up the mag and getting ready to go.
Are you ready? Yes. Stand by.
And got him. And then you've got to run down this field and shoot all these targets. Now again, the 180 was moving with you, and the targets on your left, there was a point that if you crossed it, you hear their RO warning me here. They were very helpful, and I had just gone past, but luckily I moved back and took out the targets that I needed to take out. And my strategy here was to shoot those targets from this point and then just run along the right side of this field of fire here and knock out the rest of these paper targets. And then wrap up these 2 right here, which was fairly easy. And that was the end of the stage. All right, this next stage was probably my favorite run of the entire day, and basically they had to wear this pouch and you had to go collect scalps off these little white humanoid targets. You did have to put your gun on safe and put it into the safety box and have your hands completely off the firearm. If not, it was a 30-second penalty per occurrence. And other than that, it was basically run and gun here. And just a really cool run, lots of gunfire in the background from the event going on, people trying a lot of different firearms, and you really got the full feel that you were in a war zone with this run, and one of the reasons why I really enjoyed it. So right off the bat, from the start, you've got these targets right to the right-hand side, and then your first scalp that you've got to collect is right here. I decided to take these 3 targets through this tree branch, just to knock those out of the way. Again, making sure that my gun's unsafe, and grabbing the scalp, putting it into the bag, and then getting ready to go on the run. There are these targets right on the left here, easy to take out. I think they were stacked on top of each other. Then there's some right off to the right. I wanted to take those out. And then again, putting the gun on safe, getting my hand completely off of it, collecting my scalp. And then going back to work, a couple of targets in that little field right there, and then running up here. And I had a bum knee coming into this match, and you can hear me. That's when the knee really started to kick in, going up that hill. I'm trying to go as fast as I could just to make up some time. I did not want to do a mag change. I knew I just had just a few rounds for some misses. I'm hoping I'm running a clean. I did have a miss or two on these steels, but there's a couple of steels. One's through those trees right there, then one's over here. And you can see me take the mag out, which is completely empty at that point. So timed it perfectly, no mag change, and I did this whole run clean. I got every target that I needed to get and no penalties. So had a great time on this run, my favorite run, and shot it clean. So I was pretty stoked with that. Okay, this next stage, the theme was basically you have to basically take out the prospector to get his steal his claim, and then you have to go collect his gold and put it underneath the chute box there. Here I'm just getting everything ready, putting the gun in the way that they wanted it, which I think was unloaded mag in. And then you come over here to this, and there's the shovel. Someone had broke the shovel earlier in the competition, so you had to hold it by some duct tape. But just tapping that is you taking out the prospector. And now I'm running over here, and I have to collect the gold nuggets as fast as possible and put that underneath the chute box, grab my firearm. And I had to come way over here to shoot 2 steel targets, but I could not shoot any of the paper targets from this particular location, and it was very tempting to do that. I almost forgot. You can only shoot paper from this field of fire here, so I quickly was working on these paper targets. And my mistake here is I started to shoot on the move, but I started waiting until the last target was visible instead of going for the first target as it became more visible to me. And so that just slowed me up on this one. Shot everything clean, but again, my time wasn't so great on this one. A little bit disappointed with that. Okay, on the 7th stage, another fun stage. You have this sort of wobbly horse you had to get up on and shoot these targets. You had a lot of steel sort of downrange on either side, both the right and the left, as well as straight down. And then you had some paper targets on both the left side and the right side of the horse. Getting up on this thing was interesting. And here he's going to hand me the rifle so I can sort of, just sort of get ready, make sure my optics working and everything like that. And I'm glad that I did this because I went through the, each shot that I wanted to take. You can see those white no shoots, pretty challenging. You don't have a whole lot of room for error, and again, some of the steel was blending in really well to this, and so you just wanted to make sure where all the targets were. And here I'm like, oh, I can't even turn over and hit those. I'm going to have to go offhand. But he's like, no, you can just put your leg over. That's totally allowed. And that just made that so much easier. Probably cost me a little time, but I just could not make that twist to get those targets on the right hand side. So now we're just getting ready to go in. Decided to get the Indian design mag for this stage along with the horse. I thought it sort of fit well, and ready to go. So now just knocking out these targets on the left. Again, having to take my time here. Couldn't go super fast just because of the no shoots. And then hitting off the steel, not too bad. Just sort of cleaning up the steel as I sort of go along. Again, my biggest issue is my speed, and I'm not the fastest shooter around. And now, of course, taking some time to flip that leg over and get the stiff body moved towards the left and getting that done. I thought maybe I may have clipped one of those no shoots, but it turns out that I actually shot this stage clean. So I was pretty stoked with that, and that was the stage, and so really happy with how that one came out. Okay, final stage here. Basically, the only thing to really note about this stage, you had to shoot the same steel targets from every shooting area, and there were 3 different shoot areas. You could shoot the paper targets from whatever area that you want. You just had to make sure all paper targets were hit at some point. So my strategy here was, when I went to the middle, was just to go after the steel, but to take care of the paper targets from the 2 ends, both the left end and the right end. Decided to start at the left. I tend to prefer shooting from left to right. And so again, just working on these targets right here, paper targets, and then going in for some steel that was down here, and then decided to go after some of these paper targets here. along with the steel, and then hitting that far steel down at the corner of the field here. And then huffing my way over to the middle, and here I'm just going to work on the steel targets and make sure that, I think there were 3 of those, yeah, 3 of those that I needed to hit. And then that just left this set of paper targets for me to hit from this chute. Oh, and there were these over there, I forgot about that. Yeah, I like the angle on those better. So cleaned up those, and then cleaning up these as fast as I can, and then taking care of the steel, and unfortunately ran out of ammo. I didn't really plan my ammo change appropriately. I should have done that when I was moving from one field to the next. And that was just a mental mistake on my part. And there we go, cleaned it up. Okay, so that was Kalashbash 2025 rifle carbine match. Really solid, great stages, really well designed, a lot of fun and challenge to be had by both advanced shooters and beginner shooters as well. 364 shooters registered for this one match, and I came in 158, which for me was awesome, probably a personal best. I felt that I shot well. Again, my issue, of course, is speed and trying to do this stuff faster, but again, I'm still learning a lot here with this competitive game, and I would encourage you guys and the gals, if you're sitting there on the couch, shooting competitions are a great way to get out, improve your firearm skills, meet a lot of great people, and just sort of get out and have a great time. With that, I had a great squad. In fact, in my squad, the number 1 and number 2 shooters that won the overall event and came in second were in my squad, so you got to see people at a pretty high level doing this, and that's always a lot of fun. So with that, thanks a lot for watching. If you made it through this far, appreciate any like and subscribe that you can do, and look forward to seeing you guys at a upcoming shooting competition event. Signing out.
To the rolling green, they're all chasing colors or dreams.